Hi Chapterettes, welcome back to my channel and thanks for being a part of my story. Hi guys, so I'm back and I'm so excited to be back, and we have little Ellie here. Miss Eleanor, we call her Ellie. She's got one of the cutest little outfits on today, little crop top. So the reason I have Miss Ellie here is because we are going to tell our birth story today. But I'll probably have her daddy take her while I am doing most of the story, because she is at the point where she likes to look around a lot. So she's gonna be flopping all over and everything like that. But I just wanted to let you guys see her because it's been a while since I've been on here, and she's the reason why. And I mean that in the most loving way. I am so in love with our daughter, and yeah, I love you so much. Yeah, she is a month old, about to be 6 weeks, so a little over a month. And she is so alert. She likes to look at everything around her. This is her little nursery room. It doesn't have the best lighting, but I just wanted to sit in here and do the birth story and show you guys little Eleanor. And so yeah, let's get right into it. All right, so I'm gonna hold her for a little bit longer. If it's distracting, I'm sorry. She's just being really content right now and looking around. So, but to start this all off, so I went in for my last routine ultrasound, last routine checkup in general, and that was May 28th, I believe. Yeah, May 28th. And so when I went into my ultrasound, they said that there was some extra fluid. I was producing too much fluid, I guess. And so they talked to my midwives about it. And that was a little concerning. But the thing that really kind of set things off for them was when I went into my routine midwife appointment. That day's appointment and the one prior, I had high blood pressure, so they thought I could possibly get preeclamptic within the next week or so before I was supposed to be induced, because I already had a scheduled induction day. They were nervous that something would happen within that time frame, especially since I was producing extra fluid and my blood pressure and everything. So they basically were like, "What are you doing for the rest of the day?" And I said, "Nothing." And they're like, "Are you ready to have a baby?" So that's what happened. They called the hospital. They said, "Have her get up here by 2 o'clock on May 28th. She was starting to get a little fuzzy, so I gave her to her dad. Basically, they called the hospital, and the hospital said, "If you can have her here by 2, we'll have a room for her, and we can start the induction process." So that's what happened. It was all really fast. I was not prepared for it at all. And if you see me looking down, I have notes on this laptop, so that's why I'm doing that, because a lot went on. The thing that happened is I got into the hospital and I got checked in and everything, and they put the baby monitor on me right away. So it's like this strap that goes across your stomach, and there's 2 little monitors, your contractions, and the other monitors the baby's heart rate. So they put that on, and then after the monitor was on, they gave me my first dose of Cybertech pill that basically can help your cervix expand, and it starts the induction process. So they gave me my first dose of that, and they waited until around 9 p.m. to come and check me, because I believe it was around every 6 hours or something like that. 5-6 hours you could get another dose if your cervix wasn't expanding or anything wasn't happening. So around 9 o'clock they came and checked me. I wasn't dilated at all. My cervix wasn't softened, so they gave me another dose of that Cybertech. That was pretty much it for the rest of that day. And so I just went to sleep the best that I could the rest of the night. I wasn't in a lot of pain, to be honest, until later in the story. The next morning, they came in and checked my cervix, and there was still no progress at all. But at this point, I was contracting, but I wasn't feeling the contractions. But it was to the point where they couldn't give me a next dose of the Cybertech because I was contracting too frequent. But I was contracting about every 1 to 2 minutes, and I was not feeling them at all. At this point, they couldn't even give me the Pitocin, so the next step was a Foley balloon, which they put into your cervix, and it's supposed to help like expand so you could start dilating and everything and get closer to having the baby. I went to put that in. They got the doctor for that and everything, and they could not get it in because, come to find out, my cervix was tilted. So that's why it was so hard to get things going, get me dilated and everything like that. So they couldn't even do the Foley balloon. After that, my contractions started to subside a little bit. So they tried to give me a third dose of the Cybertech. This was the next day, May 29th. So around like 11 p.m. is when they came in to check on me to see if anything happened after giving me that third dose. Sorry I'm using my hand so much. But they came in, checked to see what's going on, and I still was not moving as quickly as I should be. At this point, I was at about a 2.5, 3, somewhere around then. So I dilated a little bit, but nowhere near where I needed to be. So at this point, all I could do is just wait. And I went to go to the bathroom, and I came back, and all of a sudden I felt this big gush. My water broke. It was the weirdest feeling. It's just this huge gush. So after my water broke, that is when I started to feel the contractions, and they were strong. I was in so much pain. Within a matter of minutes, I was like, I need that epidural as soon as you can give it to me. I was in a lot of pain. Plus, I was going on almost my third day of being at the hospital with no progression of anything happening. I told them I needed the epidural. They moved pretty quickly and got me into a labor and delivery room. And then that's when things started to turn into something that I was not expecting at all. Just like the induction. Basically, my whole birth was not my birth plan at all, and it was just all really surprising. Like, things were just so unexpected the whole time, and I guess I should have kind of expected that, especially being a first-time mom. I had no idea what I was getting into. I had a birth plan all set out, and it didn't go that way. So, and I'm not saying if you have a birth plan that it won't go your way, because there's plenty of people that their births go their way. Just mine was not one of them. And I honestly wouldn't change it for anything. But anyways, back to the story. I'm getting off track here. So they got me in the labor and delivery room, and they were starting to monitor Ellie even closer, because I wanted to get in the shower. And the thing about having the midwives was I could move around when I wanted to. I could eat as long as I wanted to. I could shower, get in the shower if I was in pain. And at this point, when I didn't have the epidural yet, when we were waiting on them, the only thing that would help my pain was sitting in the shower and letting the water run down my back, the hot water. At this point, they were like, you cannot take a shower until we monitor Ellie for 30 minutes because her heart rate is starting to drop a little bit. I'm like, oh, okay, is everything okay? And they're like, yeah, it's fine. We're just gonna double check, and we want to monitor her for a longer time. So they came in and they acted like everything was fine, and they were like, you can take a shower and you can relax. Just don't be in the shower more than 20 minutes because we need to get you back on the monitor. I was like, okay, sounds good. Well, when I got back on the monitor is when the epidural person came in, and so we got that done. It knocked me out, and from this point on, I'm going to try to remember as much as I can, but I was in a daze for part of it because I had so much medicine running through me. So here's where it's going to get a little rocky. This is where I'm really going to have to look at my notes because I talk with my husband over it and made sure I got everything down in my notes. I remember them coming in and saying, Ellie's heart rate is dropping, but it's not to a significant level where you can't continue to try to have her naturally. So we're giving you the option of continue to try to have her naturally, or you can have a C-section, and that would happen tomorrow on May 30th. And so that's something that as soon as they left the room, my husband and I called my mom, called his parents, and we talked talking it over with everybody and then ourselves, we decided to go the C-section route because at this point I was so exhausted. I didn't even think I'd be strong enough to push her out. So I was going on 3 days almost now of being... Actually, I think at this point it was the 3rd day. It was just really early in the morning. I was, exhausted. I wasn't going to be able to do it. I knew my body wasn't going to be able to handle it. And it wasn't what I wanted, but it was what was best for me and Ellie because I needed to be strong enough, and I knew I wasn't going to be. So basically, after we decided that it was going to be a C-section, they just let me sleep for most of the time. I still had the monitor on, but they weren't continually waking me up and everything like they were before. Around at 9:30 on May 30th is when I got prepared and everything to go into the C-section room and when the C-section started. It was actually a lot less nerve-wracking than I thought through my whole pregnancy because my mom had C-sections with all 4 of her kids, and so through my whole pregnancy I feared a C-section and I was scared that it was going to be so painful, and it was just a real fear of mine. But I think at the point where I was going into the C-section, I was just so, it sounds bad to say, but I was just so over it. I wanted her out. I wanted my baby here. And if that was the way it had to happen, it had to happen. They started putting all of the medicine in me, so I couldn't feel anything. You really can't feel any pain but pressure. And there was a couple times when the pressure was pretty severe where I was like, just made somewhat of a screaming noise because it was a little painful, but it was mainly pressure. Like, I didn't feel them cut at all or stitch me up or anything like that. And then Ellie was here at 10:02 a.m. on May 30th. Now, after Ellie was pulled out, Kent got to hold her right away, and it was so amazing. I would 100% have midwives again. They were amazing through the whole process. They're not the ones who performed the C-section, but they were in there with me, and they were coaching me and holding my hand on this side while Kent had my other hand, and my anesthesiologist was so amazing. I just had a really positive birth for everything being so unexpected, and I'm so grateful, and especially because the midwife took my phone and took amazing pictures of the whole thing, and I'm just so grateful for it. So Kent went back to the labor and delivery room that we were placed in for recovery, and I was getting stitched up and everything. So Kent was there with Ellie while she got her, I forget what it's called, but it's when they get their testing after being born and everything to make sure everything's okay. So I got back into the room after being stitched up. I don't remember how long it took. I remember being able to go in and hold her. They gave her to me right away after getting into the recovery room with Kent. I got to hold her and they put her on my chest and I got to do skin to skin, but in a matter of like 1 to 2 minutes of me having her, I was told that her glucose levels were low and she had to go into the NICU, and so I barely got to hold her. I'm glad I got to hold her at least once with skin to skin before she had to go into the NICU, but it was really kind of upsetting too at the same time. Throughout the whole thing, I tried to stay positive, but this is where I really was kind of grateful I had a C-section, because I got to have a 3-day stay at the hospital, so I got to be there while Ellie was in the NICU, and if I had her naturally, I'd have to leave within 2 days, and Ellie would have still been in the NICU because she ended up being there for 4 days, I believe. So she went to the NICU and I went to my room with Kent, and that was basically the end of the whole birth story. We stayed in our room. We would go up and visit her every feeding time, which was every 3 hours. We'd go up and visit her. I even got to start pumping. They gave me a pump, so I was able to give her the colostrum and everything while she was in the NICU, so that was positive. And I was just glad that they let us see her, because I would have been so heartbroken if I wouldn't have been able to see her. And then she got to come home, and ever since then things have been good. Her jaundice level stayed normal. Her blood sugar is fine. She's eating great. I have another video planned where I'm going to talk about like my breastfeeding journey so far and how that's been going and everything like that. So that was basically the birth story. It was really surprising, really scary at some times, but I wouldn't have changed anything that happened because it brought my precious baby girl into the world. And she is the most perfect baby to me and her dad. I hope you guys enjoyed my birth story. I'm sorry if it seems like I'm all over the place, because I kind of was. Give this video a thumbs up if you like this kind of content. I got a little bit more coming, and if you guys continue to like the baby content, I will give more. I haven't started Weight Watchers or any dieting back yet because I am breastfeeding, so that content probably won't be coming back for a little while. But it's not completely gone, I promise you, because I would like to get back to my plan and how I was doing things before I got pregnant. You guys forget, whatever chapter you're on in your journey, just take it one step at a time. You got this, and I'm sending positive vibes and love your way. I hope you guys subscribe and like this video and give it a thumbs up. And you should definitely hit that notification bell, just because I don't really have a scheduled time right now where I'm posting videos, so you definitely want to be notified when I do post one. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.